It is time for a little cooking and some cocktails with our main man, local caterer Big Herm. And if you are looking for a little new recipe to try out at home, well, you've come to the right spot. Sizzling chicken cacciatore is on today's menu. Let's just jump right in, Big Herm. It's wonderful to see you, my man.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, come on, man. Chicken cacciatore,
yes.
Little Italian dish, and obviously chicken is the main entree.
And we switched it up a little bit. We have a bone-in chicken thigh.
Bone-in chicken thigh.
You've seen a lot of times I'm on here. I like chicken thighs as far as it's nice and juicy.
Yeah.
It's hard to overcook it. Not that we try to overcook anything.
Sure.
It's hard to overcook, but it has a nice tenderness to it. And then I guess it's a new one of the new things. If you notice, chicken thighs are actually gone up in prices in the store. It used to be really, really cheap. Now they're getting more and more expensive, but they're really, really good.
Why is that, Big Herm? Is it just because you said the meat is tender, a little bit more juicy?
Why is the price going up?
No, just what is the?
Because it's dark. It's more of a dark. It's dark meat versus white meat versus a chicken breast, which has a tendency to dry out as you cook it longer. But yeah, so we really enjoy using chicken thighs whenever we can. This is the finished product here. I guess I should have covered it up, but this is the finished product here.
No
but we're gonna go ahead and start.
We're working our way to this. This is what we want to do.
Working our way to exactly.
So chicken cacciatore. What are some of the ingredients, my man?
We have some thyme, some fresh garlic, onions, carrots, mushrooms, tomatoes. We experimented a little bit. You can also use some diced tomatoes or some chunked tomatoes as far as canned if you wanted to, as far as time saving.
Take a little time.
And then we have some capers. A little bit of white wine.
Capers, man, they send that at any dish really over the top.
It does. And it's called cooking and cocktails.
Oh, cooking and cocktails.
Right. There we go.
I was waiting for Tom's laugh. All right, we'll get started here while I take the old foil off the old bubbly here. And where do we begin?
We're going to begin with our bone-in chicken thighs.
Bone-in chicken thigh. So how many thighs, if you want to get, say, a family of four, is it one thigh for each? Okay.
Exactly. Thighs are pretty big, typically.
They are.
And then one per, actually we had this last night at my house.
Did you?
And then all we're going to do is rinse. Pretty much anytime you buy chicken, you want to rinse it. Try to make sure it's clean. Typically, it should already be clean, but rinse it really good and pick out any feathers or anything like that. We had an issue once, custom callback and said they had a feather in the chicken wing once.
A feather in the, it happens?
It happens just because they do have feathers.
They do. They come with feathers.
So you name this one. So anyway, so you want to make sure everything's
that chicken came insulated.
You know what I'm saying? Craziness. Anyway.
All right, what are we looking at? We're looking at this one right here? We're looking at 4?
Yeah, that one.
I think so. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. Oh, call the engineer. That was spot on. Thank you.
All right. All right, so here we go.
Hey, Tom, you want one? What, not yet? Not yet? He said not yet. He's still working on his morning coffee. All right, so chicken cacciatore, what should we be looking for? I know, obviously, nothing with feathers.
There you go.
That's step one.
That's step one.
Is there all thighs created equally?
For the most part, yes.
For the most part,
I don't know if I've ever really had a bad thigh. I mean, obviously, if you undercook it or you can possibly overcook it, but no, I'm pretty standard as far as that goes.
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, here's the good thighs.
There we go. He said it, I didn't. I want to be welcomed back. All right. So here, all this is the flour we made. Salt, pepper, garlic. In regular all-purpose flour.
So we add a little spice, a little salt, pepper, garlic, and into the
cayenne into the breader.
Into the breader. Okay, the breader.
We're going to fry that up.
We have a little sizzle.
A little sizzle.
Olive oil.
Olive oil. Yep. Olive oil. Okay. Since it not to burn, it takes higher heat.
I noticed that this was preheated.
Yes.
Very key.
Very key.
What are we talking about in terms of olive oil? You don't want it swimming.
Oh, no,
right?
About 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons, that's it.
And then all we're going to do is cook it here, about 2 or 3 minutes per side.
Perfect.
And then we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to take that out of the pan, and then we're going to put all the other ingredients in it. This will help make a base. The flour will help make a little sauce to it as well.
Okay.
So that's that.
But the chicken would not be done, though, Big Herm, right?
It would not be done. So after that point, what we will do, we'll take the chicken out. We're going to take the chicken out, put it to the side, put the rest of our ingredients in. Saute those up just a couple of minutes.
Okay, and they're bubbling already.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we're going to add a little bit of wine and a little bit of chicken broth.
So when do you begin this process? Say if dinner is at 7 and you have some folks coming over. When do you need to begin this, really?
If it's the first time you're doing it, I would say at least an hour.
Oh yeah.
Because what's going to happen is after we get all that stuff done, we're still going to leave it on the stove for 15 or 20 minutes, covered in foil. Until it gets nice and juicy and basted like the one right here.
And that chicken is just soaking up all of the juices from the tomatoes and the garlic and the capers and just creating this medley for the mouth.
Yep.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Let's take a little. All right, we're going too fast.
Going too fast. We got plenty of time.
We do have plenty of time. Awesome. Thank you for the bubbly. Always a pleasure.
When this is almost ready, we will grab a pair of tongs and flip it over and cook the other side.
Now tell us, Big Herm said you threw a little curveball in there. How often do you like to change up the recipe every once in a while on things? Because they kind of get a little boring, but you want to throw a little spice into it.
A little spice into it. And once again, once you've done it once, and even if you know your family and how they like to eat or their taste profiles, you can add a little bit of this, take a little bit of that out. If your family doesn't like spice, you take out the cayenne out of the flour itself. If your family does like cayenne, you can keep it in there or add a little bit more if you want to.
Oh, sure.
So, but yeah, you always want to change it up a little bit. I always say, 9 times out of 10, if you have a recipe, let's stick to it the first time. Try it, see what you like about it.
Get comfortable with it.
Be comfortable with it first. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then here, we would, another minute? Oh, we would do it.
I was going to say, that's about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes right there. What are we looking for when it's done? Like we said, the chicken is not done once this is on.
Of course, now you're just looking for a nice coating here, and as you notice, we're starting to get a little bit of juice coming around the chicken there. A little bit of coating here. We're going to use that as kind of like a gravy or a sauce.
Now, if somebody doesn't like the bone-in thigh for the chicken and the dark meat, and they still want to stick with the chicken cutlets, the white meat.
Of course.
Do they alter this in any way, shape, or form, in terms of time cooking?
Yes, probably about half.
Okay.
Let's just say you have a chicken breast, probably about half the time, because once again, you don't have a bone.
No bone.
No bone. Typically, anytime you cook chicken and you have a bone in it, it's going to take a lot longer to cook and a lot more inconsistency to cook. Whereas if you don't have a bone in it, if you do have a bone in it, it's a little bit more challenging. It'll take longer to cook.
Not to mention, it's a little bit thicker, too.
Yeah, exactly. But just like a steak or anything else, when you have a bone in it, it makes it a little more challenging to get the meat cooked up to the bone, fully cooked.
Well, does the bone-in, I know with some steaks with the bone-in, it's a little bit more flavorful. Is that the same application for chicken as well?
Yes, we take the same philosophy. Sometimes we do recipes that may call for boneless meat. We may use chicken pieces instead, and a lot of times our customers like that just because it allows us to give that flavor and that taste profile.
Absolutely.
All right,
it's looking good, man.
Just for time purposes, we're going to pull this off here now.
Okay. I noticed we have a base of pasta over here as well.
Pasta, and at home you can do pasta, you can do rice. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this.
So, okay, well, it's going to be sizzle? No sizzle.
This olive oil, once again, has a tendency not to go quite as high.
And again, you're not necessarily putting a lot in there.
Correct.
Whoa.
Got a little sizzle. Stand back.
Hello.
Watch out now.
You're a trained professional there, Big Herm. Onions?
Onions. Just yellow onions. You can use red onions if you choose to. Some carrots.
So this really, if you think about it, Big Herm, is a relatively healthy dish.
Oh, it is.
With the vegetables.
It is that.
It's not deep fried, the thighs.
Not deep fried. We have it once in just a simple flour.
Sure.
A little bit of olive oil. Maybe just gonna saute this up just a little bit. It
smells divine here, Big Herm.
Divine. I use that word all the time.
Boy, oh boy. Now,
oh boy.
Do you have to put in certain vegetables first, or I noticed you're waiting on the tomatoes, waiting on the capers?
Exactly. Tomatoes and capers, they're gonna break down pretty quick. So at this point, we're just gonna saute these up.
All right, we're sauteing the carrots, the onions, and some mushrooms in there as well.
Again, it depends on what you like. You can always put some squash and zucchini in it. If you did decide to do that, I'll probably put it on a later side of the scale here, just because once again, they do break down, and you hate squash and zucchini if they're overcooked. It's just not as good.
So will these vegetables, will they still have a little bit of a crunch to them?
Yes.
And that's what you want?
Exactly. This has been cooking, once again, we did the whole process earlier than later, and then this right here has been cooking probably about 25 minutes, total 40 minutes.
Okay, not too bad.
Total, yeah.
So when you took the chicken out of the pan and it's sitting here, would you put that in the oven, or is that just going to be sitting here for a while?
On the stove.
On the stove. Sit there on the stove.
About medium, between low to medium heat, simmering, covered in foil, keeps the juices in. You don't have to put it in the oven at all.
Okay.
Just keep it on top of your stove.
This is while you're sauteing these vegetables.
No. Once again, we're going to do this here. Here we're going to add in chicken broth.
So these chicken bones right here, these pieces of thighs, they're sitting there just waiting.
Just chilling out.
Just chilling out.
Having a cocktail. And a little wine.
What are these thighs like? Are they a little Crown too?
Yeah, always at my house. Always.
You know what we should do is have a little field trip to your house.
Oh, man.
Would that be amazing?
You may not want to leave. I don't
I'm not. I'm bringing a sleeping bag.
Yeah, might be a good idea.
Exactly.
Might be a good idea.
Okay, we just added a little bit more liquid right here.
Right.
And we
Little
got
wine.
Beautiful. And anybody
Tomatoes.
concerned about that alcohol content, that's going to burn off,
Most
right?
of it will burn off.
Most of it will?
As much as I put in there, it may not burn all the way off. But it's okay. We have a long
It's about a
day,
quarter of a bottle.
And it's Thursday, so it's all good.
As Tom says, it's illegal Thursday.
Illegal Thursday. Tom is a snitch. He's a snitch, everybody.
I can tell you, Tom's over there creating the forecast right there. He's finishing up his
creating the forecast.
Yeah, he's creating the forecast. But I got to say, his mouth is watering. Tom, do you want to come on? Are you done over there? Come on over, man.
Is he done?
I think so. Here we go.
I think you're tossing to me after this segment. So you're
that's
gonna have
okay. You can take some chicken cacciatore.
Right. That's okay. I can walk on over.
Oh,
this
yeah,
smells.
man.
You're right. Divine. Divine did not even say it, right?
It's a completely different experience over in this side of the studio.
And this is what we do.
Are you giving him the bottle?
We cook. No, it's safe for you. We cook and we serve cocktails.
We got to keep it legal.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
at least
all right.
part of the show has to be legal.
All right.
All right. We've just got a few seconds left here. The chicken's going back in.
Chicken's going back in.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Tom, is this amazing?
Yeah, you're not supposed to smell this time of day, right? This is unbelievable.
That's why we need a field trip over to Big Herm's.
Chicken goes back in.
All right.
So all we do, we cover it in foil, reduce the heat, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
and once again, if you ever read a recipe, whatever the time says, always check on it every once in a while.
Bingo.
Because it's not, different ovens work different ways, different stove top works different ways. Obviously, gas versus electric is different. So always check it.
And I noticed you just place them on there. You want to, do you want to cover the chicken with all the vegetables as well? Just put it right on top.
Just put it right on top. It's fine.
Right on top.
And then we're going to cover it with foil, 15, 20 minutes. It's a wrap.
And you get this, bam.
Bam.
All right,
Wow.
right here, Tom. It's illegal Thursday. Grab your little weather clicker right there. Fantastic. All right.
I got work to do.
Isn't he amazing? All right, listen. Get your butt over into the weather center while I read this right here. By 2 o'clock today, you're just going to be one click away from finding this delicious and divine recipe on our website, WTVR.com/VTM. Cheers, Big Herm. Great to see you.
See you next Thursday.
Here's to good thighs. Tom, it's always wonderful. Big Herm here on Illegal Thursday.